Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Monday, March 31st, 8 a.m. on the dot. Had to beat the 8 a.m. I thought I think it's going to turn to 8:01 here. Got to hurry the hell up here. What's going on, everybody? Thank you very much for being a part of the show. Hopefully everybody had a really, really nice weekend and is ready to kick back and enjoy the Sliwa show. Thank you for being here. We got a busy Monday. Busy Monday for a couple of reasons. Number one, we got a busy Monday because we got our show, and there's a lot to catch up over the weekend. And then also, you got a Lakers game tonight against a really good Rockets team coming up 7 o'clock tonight. So you guys are going to see way too much of me today. Probably way too much of me. Way too much of me this week. They still got 4 games this week, but it's actually kind of scattered a little bit. They're going to have a couple days off in between, which doesn't typically happen. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. If you guys could do me a quick favor here. Just a quick favor. You guys subscribe to the channel. Take a minute or two. Would greatly appreciate that. It would it'd mean a lot, and it would definitely help the channel if you guys don't mind subscribing to the channel. All right, let me give everyone a quick quote here, and then I got the rundown for everybody. Then we'll start looking at everybody's comments, and then we'll get the show started. All right, here's today's quote. I am not afraid of any army of lions led by a sheep. I am afraid of an army of sheep led by a lion. Damn, that's really good. I got some others here. I was like, should I do the other ones today too? No, just let me stick with this one. Sometimes I get a little too excited. I dropped 2 quotes in there, and then I got one less. I'm not afraid of any army of lions led by a sheep. I'm afraid of an army of sheep led by a lion. Really, really good quote there. All right, hopefully everybody had a great weekend. I am going to, as we get started here, I'm going to give everyone just a quick idea of what we got going on for the show today. Number one, we're going to sit back and talk a little bit about the game, the big win against the Memphis Grizzlies. It was a big win. It was a big win for the Lakers. It was a game the Lakers desperately needed. You really didn't know what the result was going to be. I know coming into the game, if you'd have told me Lakers lost that game by 5 or won by 5, I wouldn't have been shocked either way. Got the W. We'll spend a little time on how they did that and just how big of a win that was. Tough matchup tonight against the Rockets. If you thought, hey, kick back, relax, you got that win against Memphis. Houston's balling. Houston's playing some good ball. Now, the one thing I will say about Houston, they're not exactly playing tough teams. So, I'm not sure about the Houston Rockets. We'll find out a little bit more. But when you win 9-10 in the West, when you're second place in the Western Conference, you got a 2-game cushion. You must be doing something right. So Houston, which struggled, I know Fred VanVleet was out for a little bit, and then when he came back, they all of a sudden started winning. We'll talk a little bit about the Lakers-Rockets game coming up. I want to spend a little time talking about Austin Reaves today as well. I was looking back. I decided, I was like, all right, let me go back here. Let me go back here and take a look at, before the season started, what were people saying about Austin Reaves? Kind of where was he? Where did people have Austin Reaves as far as importance in the NBA, relevance in the NBA? How big of a player was Austin Reaves going to be? Reaves, I'll go through some of his games. I'll go through a couple quotes James Worthy had mentioned. I'll go through some of the quotes he's or some of the games he's had over the last 5-7 games, something along those lines. The man is balling. And I was having a difficult time on Saturday fully comprehending and understanding, is he giving credit, or I'm sorry, I was having difficulty understanding. The guy's not a superstar, but he's also not a role player. So we got to kind of figure out exactly what Austin Reaves is for the Lakers and what he's been. Okay, we got that coming up. And then Anthony Davis got a chance to connect with Mark Spears of Anscape. I want to read a couple of quotes from that conversation. My guest this morning is going to be Ryan Hollins, who you guys may know Ryan Hollins. There was a time he was very active on ESPN LA. Now is the 10-year veteran in the NBA. Now does Rockets TV. So he's doing all the Rockets games. So what better person to have to preview this upcoming game and what to expect than Ryan Hollins? We'll have him on. Got some MLB news I want to get into, talk a little bit about the beginning of the season. We'll lob in some stuff about the Dodgers, the Padres, some chatter about Roki Sasaki, and then I'll do the weekend recap, and we'll get the hell out of here. So I appreciate everybody hanging out for the show. If you got a quote you want to throw out there, throw it out there. I'll try to get to it. And like I mentioned, if you guys don't mind subscribing to the channel, I greatly appreciate that. All right, let's take a look here. Right out the gate, if Hollins is a Laker hater, he will fit right in with this chat. What's going on in the chat? People hating today? What's happening? And by the way, just because somebody says Lakers might lose tonight against Houston doesn't make them a Laker hater. It means the Rockets are a good team too. All right, let me see here. Let me catch up here with what everybody's got. Peter, we should have been 3-1 on that road trip, to be honest. You know, I thought 2-2. Let's get the show started. Well, let's talk about Lakers Memphis, and then we'll talk about the road trip and everything else. And whoever else is hallucinating on the chat will have to wait. Guys, it's not that big of a deal. No need to hallucinate on the chat. Okay, so Lake Show, go 3-1 on the road trip. So as we were just kind of talking about, right? Or I'm sorry, go 2-2 on that road trip. Frankly, I don't think they should have been 3-1. I don't. They got their asses kicked against Orlando, gave up a late lead against Indiana, and got lucky to get that win, if we're being honest with each other. LeBron gets that tip in. Gave up a late lead against the Chicago Bulls. And if you want to say, okay, well, they deserve to win against Chicago. All right, well, versus Indiana and Chicago, the way the Lakers played, it should have been a 1-1 split. And then they got the win against Memphis. I think 2-2 is the right record. And frankly, that's why I thought the game against Memphis was so important. It was such a big game. Part of me thought it was such a big game for a number of different reasons. But one of the main reasons why I thought it was such a big game is you got a little breathing room now that you wouldn't have had if you lost against Memphis on Saturday night. And the breathing room that I'm talking about is there's no lock that Memphis ends up the number 5 spot. There's no lock the Lakers got. If Lakers end up number 4, that's where they're positioned right now. Still have to finish off the season strong, and they still got a tough schedule ahead of them. We'll see what Oklahoma City Thunder decide to do in their final couple of games. We got still 2 games against Houston. Better win this one tonight because the next one's going to be at Houston. That's going to be a tough one too. Houston still's got a lot to play for. We got the Warriors coming up on Thursday. A lot of really big games still left for the Lakers. So with that in mind, and the reason why I set it up that way, that win Saturday gave you a little bit of breathing room. There is a pretty strong chance now, and I never really thought Lakers would fall into this, but there have been some times where I started doubting my own opinion on it. There's a little bit of breathing room now between the Lakers in the play-in tournament and avoiding the play-in. Now you still want to hold on to the number 4 spot. Maybe you can move up to the number 3 spot. But if you look at Memphis, I mean, they're a game out of being number 6. They're 2 games out of altogether being the number 7 or the number 8 spot, just based upon the amount of losses they have. They got 30 losses. Minnesota and the Clippers have 32 losses. That would be the Lakers in that position if they had lost on Saturday. That's why Saturday was so big. That's why Saturday was so important. And that's why, where we sit here today, we can just kind of take a quick deep breath and say, all right, well, they obviously got tough games still ahead of them. But getting that win in Memphis was so crucial. It was so crucial. And frankly, the way they lost to the Chicago Bulls, I really didn't know what to expect. I thought it was interesting. Austin Reaves, after the game, spoke to Mike Trudell. He was talking to Mike Trudell, and they were having the conversation. And I think Austin Reaves said something to the effect that morning, J.J. Redick, Austin Reaves, LeBron James, and Luka all met. And whatever the details of that conversation are, they are what they are. But that just kind of shows the significance and the importance of that game. The Lakers coaching staff felt it. The stars felt it. The players felt it. Got to try to figure out a way to get a win in Memphis. And there's some moments in that game. I mean, I know I was mentioning in the postgame show, if you guys watched the postgame show or not, but there was a point of that game where Lakers, first quarter, first half, they have a 20-point lead. They look like they might run away with this thing. Memphis is going to come back and make runs. Memphis came all the way back and took a 4-point lead on the Lakers, 111-107. I'm like, I don't think the Lakers are going to win this thing. And they fought back and found a way to win it and obviously got the W. But close out the road trip 2-2. This is the significance of why the game against Memphis was so important. You keep the number 3 spot still at play. I mean, if you told me a perfect world is you get out of that number 4 or 5 spot. Of course, if you're going to be in the 4 or 5 spot, get home court in the first round. But I want to avoid the Oklahoma City Thunder for as long as I can. That's what I'd like to see the Lakers do. Avoid the Oklahoma City Thunder as much as they can. If they lost against Memphis, the chances of the Lakers avoiding that, 4 or 5 spot, probably now 5 in that position, and the distance that starts growing between the Lakers and Denver at number 3 would not have been good. So at least with that win, you keep that number 3 spot still at play. I mentioned to you guys, obviously in an ideal world, you got Denver facing OKC in the second round, not the Lakers. Here's what Saturday night also represented. Something to keep in mind. Lakers are 31-19 over the Western Conference. They're 12 games over 500 in the West. They're 18-15 versus teams above 500. That's third best record in the Western Conference. 18-15 versus teams above 500. The road trip was odd, right? If I'd have told you, okay, here are the teams the Lakers are playing. They got one game against a team 14 games over 500. They got another game with a team 12 games over 500. And then they got 2 teams below 500 as part of the four-game road trip. Lakers lost the two games with the teams below 500 in Orlando and Chicago, and then ended up beating the Indiana Pacers and the Memphis Grizzlies. I think the good news with that, and I think that goes with some of my stats here about the 18-15 versus teams above 500. The good news about that is obviously the Lakers can beat quality teams, and they've done that. And they've done that for, I want to say there was a stretch during the season where they were struggling against teams over 500, but whatever that stretch was, things changed around. They started beating teams like the Clippers, like the Denver Nuggets, like the trying to think here off the top of my head. Got the W against Boston. They beat the New York Knicks twice. So they got games over teams over 500, which is obviously a good sign. So third best record in the West, teams over 500. Only 2 teams better than the Lakers, record over 500. One is no surprise, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and really the other one I don't think should be that much of a surprise either. Houston Rockets. The Rockets are the only other team with that type of a record or better record than the Lakers, teams over 500. So that's what I thought Saturday night meant for the Lake Show. Keeps them in the hunt where they want to be. At that bare minimum, it keeps them in this conversation about top 4 in the Western Conference. And top 3 is not out of the picture. And in an ideal world, the only way they're going to get to that number 2 spot, you got to sweep Houston. You got to beat them in both of these games. And you really got to finish off the season incredibly, incredibly strong in order for that to happen. So we'll see what happens. 8 games left. You'd have to probably go 6-2 in these final 8 and beat Houston twice to have a real shot at that number 2 spot. Realistic, probably not, but see if you can pass Denver, I think is going to be the most important thing. Okay, let me look at a couple of the comments, and then I want to talk about the Houston Rockets a little bit. I want to talk about Austin Reaves, a couple other things I want to get into. Let's take a look here at some of the comments. Still drinking my tea, guys. I think I'm used to tea now. I think I'm used to it. I think I've reached the point where, don't get me wrong. Yesterday was going out to dinner, and right after dinner, they're like, coffee and dessert? I'm like, you son of a... that might be the greatest combination, coffee and dessert. All right, happy Monday, Slee. Happy Monday to you, my brother. Thank you for being a part of the show. Get a couple of these comments in, and we'll talk about the Rockets game. That Chicago BS hurt. Yeah, but, I'm going to say this again. They deserved it. They really did. Both of those games against Indiana and Chicago, that's how they close out games. You can't close out games like that. Careless turnovers, no execution, no defense played. I mean, they got just as lucky to beat Indiana as they were unlucky to beat the Chicago Bulls. So I think a lot of this stuff always kind of averages itself out. Greg's ready to talk about the Rockets. Houston is good. They have some guys that can match up well with LeBron and Luka. You know, the good thing is Memphis was the first time you got to see the Lakers play Memphis with LeBron and Luka together. Tonight will be the first time you get to see the Lakers play the Houston Rockets with LeBron and Luka together. So there's still a lot of learning who would have thought? March 31st, and we're still learning a ton about the Lakers and other matchups that are out there. All right, we'll go back here. Let me steal a quick quote here. Between stimulus and response, there's a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and freedom. Badass. Great quote. Thank you, brother. Thank you for sharing that. Definitely a barometer game tonight. All right, everybody's ready to go. They want to talk. They definitely want to talk about. They definitely want to talk about this matchup. Okay, let's talk Lakers Rockets here for a quick second. By the way, Ryan Hollins, 10-year vet in the NBA, does Rockets TV. He's going to join us at 8:30, so he'll help out as well. Interesting game tonight. I got a lot of questions. You know, there's certain teams that the Lakers are going to play. I got to get a guest for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm dying to know more about the Thunder. I got to get a guest, somebody representing the Golden State Warriors. I'm dying to know about the Thunder. About the Warriors, now that they got Jimmy Butler. And then I think this is a perfect example as well, the Houston Rockets team. Who's watching the Rockets every single night? I need information about what the hell the Rockets are. I'll tell you this. If you'd have told me before the season started, and if you guys remember this last week, I was saying, hey, if I had to pick between Memphis or Houston, I'd rather play Memphis over Houston. And let me tell you why. And this was before Taylor Jenkins even got fired. So, you know, whatever that indicates, but that's very, very odd. You're firing your head coach right before the playoffs start. And a team that's top 5 in the Western Conference. That I never see that happen. But let me tell you why I kind of wanted to avoid Houston if possible. And we'll find out about them tonight. It's not that the Rockets are, you know, they got 2 superstars and there's no way of stopping them. Stylistically, the way they play, they're young. They run up and down the floor. They're phenomenal on the defensive side. They got a coach that's gritty and just will muddy the water, and they'll make the game look ugly. Houston's going to be they had a game yesterday. I didn't get to watch the whole game, but I saw Dylan Brooks and Kevin Durant were getting into it. They end up blowing out the Phoenix Suns. KD, unfortunately, turns an ankle, so we'll see. I think the Phoenix Suns, somebody had asked me a week and a half ago or something. Maybe it was Sammy. Sammy was on here with me and said, hey, do you think Phoenix is making a run? I'm like, no, I don't. I don't believe in anything of the Phoenix Suns. That pedigree and that makeup, I just don't believe in. Houston's an interesting team. 49-26. They're 23 games over 500 in the Western Conference. And do I think this is their year? No. I think they're going to, keep building on whatever they have. Who knows what they'll go do in the offseason. But they have built a team that believes. Ime Udoka's got this team believing that they can be a threat in the West. And whoever it is they play, probably going to be a phenomenal matchup in the first round. If the playoffs start today, it's Houston, Minnesota. Sign me up for that. I'm there to watch all those games. But this isn't a, one star, and it's because they have one star. That's how they get W's. Jalen Green, Şengün, Fred VanVleet, Amin Thompson, Dylan Brooks, Terry Eason, Jabari Smith Jr., and N'Faly Dante. They have 8 guys, and I know some of these guys. Let me see here to double check. Anyways, just looking at the stats, they got a ton of guys that score with double figures. All those guys, at least that I named off. I'm sorry. Take off N'Faly Dante. Take him off. They got 7 guys that are scoring over double figures on a night in, night out basis. Cam Whitmore comes off the bench for them. Aaron Holiday's on the team as well. They got guys. They're a tough, gritty team. And the only thing that I'm really paying attention to more than anything else with a team like this, I do think there's a little bit of they're disrespected. Nobody thinks they can really make all that much noise. And I think that makes a little bit of a dangerous team. What do they got to lose? Ime Udoka is kind of has built this style of a team where it's like, yeah, we don't care how we win. It might be pretty, it might be ugly. More times it's going to be ugly. That's a good challenge for the Lakers tonight. So I won't go too much into the game because I would like Ryan Hollins to kind of break it down more for us. But I think it's a tough one tonight. Tonight's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a tough game. I think we're all going to be kind of sitting around and watching this game and kind of curious how it goes, especially because hypothetically, if the Lakers got this win tonight against Houston, all right, you go back to the standings here. Now all of a sudden you're asking yourself, okay, is the number 2 spot still in play? Well, if you win tonight, they got 27 losses, and then you still got one more matchup against them. You're going to need some help from the Rockets, and I'm not telling you it's going to be a walk in the park because I know it won't be, but it's going to be a fun game. Definitely should be a fun game. All right, I'm going to look at a couple comments here, and then I want to spend some time talking about Austin Reaves. Şengün puts a body in Hayes, and it's over. He's a good player. I will tell you this. I think there's definitely a piece of the Rockets. I kind of said it before where nobody's talking about them. They see it at the number 2 seed. They'll take that, personally or whatever the case is. Ime is a good coach. All right, let's see what else we got here. Tonight's game 50-50. I agree. Defense will determine how far this Lakers team's going to play. Love your show, Sleep. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. No question about it. They don't get stops. They're not going anywhere. And frankly, I don't know if Saturday's game was a good example because they weren't exactly getting stops. Got a couple stops at key possessions, but for the most part, they definitely struggled in that department. All right, we'll talk AR here real quick. What is Austin Reaves? Somebody help me understand Austin Reaves. Here's Austin Reaves' stats so far this year, okay? Austin Reaves is averaging 20 points a game, 4.5 rebounds, 6 assists. Reaves is averaging 20 and 6 a game so far this year. His last 5 games, he's got a 25-5, 18-6-4, a 24-5-4, a 30-3, and then a 31-8-7 against the Memphis Grizzlies. Post-game show, I was trying to, kind of better understand this, and I'm telling myself, I'm like, okay, well, I know what Austin Reaves is not. He's not Luka, and he's not LeBron. That doesn't mean that any given night, Austin Reaves can actually outplay those 2 players. But just on a consistent basis, he's not going to be LeBron, and he's obviously clearly not going to be Luka Doncic as well. Okay, well, he's also not the role players. He's not Gabe Vincent. He's not Jackson Hayes. He's not, go down the list. He's not Dorian Finney-Smith, Jared Vanderbilt, Rui Hachimura. If Austin Reaves had a night like Gabe Vincent when he has 10 points, if Austin Reaves has a night like that, and then I do the post-game show, do you know how many people are coming on here and they're bitching and complaining about what Austin Reaves did? Do you know how many people would be doing that? Do you know how many people would be sitting back and saying, well, where's Austin Reaves? And how come Austin Reaves didn't do more, this, that? He's not a superstar, but he's definitely not a role player. Austin Reaves kind of finds himself in this middle territory. 20 and 6 are real numbers in the NBA. 26 and 4.5 are real numbers in the NBA. Those are real numbers in the league. And especially in a league where, you're obviously looking at some of the top 20, 25, 30 players. There's a lot of players, top 50, they don't have stats like that. If people want to talk about defensively for Austin Reaves, fine. You could talk about Reaves defensively, and you could say that man can't stop some of these other players out there. You're 100% right. I don't question that at all. You know how many players the Lakers are going to face tonight against Houston where they're all defense and they're no offense? The guys are going to have holes in their game. Is Luka, who's supposed to be one of the top 5 players in the NBA, is he a defensive stopper? He's clearly not. So I think asking for a perfect scenario for Austin Reaves probably doesn't exist. But man, has this man been phenomenal for the Lakers this year. 20-6 and 4.5 on top of that, rebounding wise. I just thought there was a quote James Worthy had after the game. And during the broadcast as well, they wouldn't stop, talking about him. Here's what he said. He said, he's an incredible player. We talk a lot about LeBron and Luka, but he's right there. I trust any of those guys with the ball down the stretch. Game against Chicago. You know who the Lakers went to down the stretch? Austin Reaves, who had turned his ankle earlier in the game. They were giving him the ball to give them the lead at the end of the game. He gave them the lead, but then Josh Giddey hit the three. They went to Austin Reaves, not Luka, not LeBron James. Just wanted to point that out because I do think what he's doing, he's been phenomenal. Here's another quote here. I think this one was from Derek Fisher. I thought the 31 points was quiet, to be honest. He's talking about Austin Reaves. And it's because he's willing to fight on defense, crashing the offensive glass, making great passes, because he's playing the full game. You're not just watching, or you're not just watching and saying he's scoring a lot. So a lot of people had a lot of, great things to say about him. And the only reason why I mentioned it, and I thought I'd bring it up, is because I was very curious how people, especially in the chat, how are they viewing him on a night in, night out basis? I don't think he's getting enough love. Let me read this one here. So it's not about being a defensive stopper. I'm asking for not to be hunted by the other teams on defense, but that's what they're going to do. And you know who else is going to get hunted at times? Luka. People have certain roles on a playoff team. And if you're asking and you think Austin Reaves, if Austin Reaves was doing the Olay defense and he gave no effort at all, I think I would be more upset about his defense. However, that never seems like the case for me. I always feel like effort's never going to be an issue with him. He's always going to be there, and he's always obviously trying to do anything he can to help the squad. That's my look on it. You guys got another look on it? Please share it. Okay, want to talk real quick about Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. Shout out to them. Thank you for being a partner like they've done now the last couple of months, and really appreciate their long-term commitment to the channel as well. If you are someone close to you who's been seriously injured or is dealing with the loss of a loved one, you should find out what legal options you have. You deserve the absolute best in the business. You deserve the right legal team backing you, and that's Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. When it comes to holding insurance companies accountable and maximizing case results, my guy Brad Wallace and his legal team at the Wallace firm, they're the real deal. They consistently win big injury and wrongful death cases. I hope no one's ever in a situation or a predicament where they need Brad Wallace, but life happens, things happen. We created a URL here to kind of make it as easy as we possibly can for anybody that runs in a predicament or a situation like this. WallaceWins.com/Sliwa. WallaceWins.com/Sliwa. Let Brad Wallace and his legal team at the Wallace firm, let them help you out if you're in a tough situation. I can make a personal introduction as well if you'd like to. I've known Brad for over 5 years, somebody that was supporting me when I was at 710 ESPN and now supporting me in my own endeavor here on YouTube. It's a free consultation. He can help anybody in the state of California. So again, WallaceWins.com/Sliwa. WallaceWins.com/Sliwa. Shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm for being a part of the show. All right, let's get back to it. Let's take a look here at some of your comments here before we get Ryan Hollins on. All right, here's some people defending, some people going at him. Talk about Austin Reaves, a lazy cardboard cutout on D. He does his best on every play. AR hunts the other team's guys too. You know what is impressive? I will, just being completely honest. I do think there is a little bit of me that watches Austin Reaves, and there are times offensively where I'm saying to myself, is this guy really hunting? And is this guy really hunting? Like, is there players who are phenomenal on the defensive side, good players, and Austin Reaves like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take my chances against this specific guy. It's kind of funny to watch that. That's not something that I thought I thought Austin Reaves a couple years ago, if you'd have told me that Austin Reaves is going at, you name the player, it doesn't even matter which player it is, he's going at all of them. AR cost us no picks, no players. We should be grateful. I don't understand the hate. Are there a lot of people hating? They better not be hating. There's no scenario out there where anybody should be hating on AR. All right, so we'll get to some of these comments. I'd be actually curious. Ryan Hollins, somebody who knows the league better than anybody else. I'll jump in with get his thoughts on this stuff as well. All right, as promised here, I did mention Ryan Hollins, who 10-year vet in the NBA, nice enough to join the show, making some time here. What's going on, Ryan? How are you, brother?
What's up, brother?
Been a while. Been a while.
I know, man. I know. Good to see you, man.
You as well, man. Thank you. I appreciate your time. I'm. It's kind of funny. Here you are, obviously doing your thing, and I want to say it might have been 2 years ago, and when Michael and I were doing the pregame show at the arena, and I remember you saying something to the effect of like, "No, there's some talent here. There's some real talent on this Rockets team, and they'll eventually make noise." I think was the message that you were sending. Second place in the Western Conference. What? Help me understand what's going on with the Houston Rockets. Did you expect them, as the Lakers get ready to play Rockets tonight, did you expect them to have this much success this early?
I expected the success to be there, but I'd be lying if I told you what happened this early. That's because of Ime Udoka and the veterans that were brought in. The front office did an unbelievable job of not just manifesting the young talent that they have, helping them grow, but bringing in the veterans that fit. You go at Fred Van Vliet, he doesn't bump heads with what Jalen Green and Alperen Şengün bring to the table. Dylan Brooks has brought a nastiness and a defensive mentality that helped them get where they need to go. Jeff Green won a world championship the world prior. So those guys have added. So
Hmm.
you got the talent, and then you didn't, a lot of times you end up having to go, oh, I got this guy, so this guy gets put off to the side, or hey, he gets overshadowed, or you had to make a pick, stay young or go win now. And Houston's on the way to do both.
Well, it's there's certain games I look forward to, and I think because Luka and LeBron join the Lakers, or Luka joins the Lakers, that's February 1st, right? Takes him some time to get acclimated, takes him some time. But there's certain teams we haven't played yet. So Saturday, Lakers got Memphis, right? Last Saturday, they played the Memphis Grizzlies. I have not seen yet what a Ja Morant, Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson Jr. looks like against LeBron, Luka, AR, some of these other players. I know what it looks like when Anthony Davis was there. I know what the Lakers look like. If Lakers had AD tonight and they're playing the Houston Rockets, maybe I got a little less excitement because I already know what to expect.
For sure.
This is a fun game tonight. I don't know what to expect. There's still, obviously a lot still on the line. I know the Rockets trying to hang on to that number 2 spot. You mentioned Ime Udoka. Can you describe what is he as a head coach? What is his style? How come he's been able to, it feels like, at least up to this point, when he talks, it sounds like he's got that room and he's got those players. How come he has such a connection with these players? How come they've had such a good amount of success?
Accountability for all the guys on the team. When you're in a locker room, and I've been there before, and the head coach only yells at like the role players or the guys not getting big minutes, or the stars off limits because he's concerned with job jeopardy, and that's a real thing in the NBA, or he doesn't want to lose his star player, he's too sensitive with him. That ain't Ime, man. And hats off to our guys because they've been coachable. But Ime brings accountability. And I know that might be lost, but like, no, he may bring, like, I don't care when the loss is in the season or he feels like the team didn't play the standard, he's furious. And there's no team in the league, even dating back to last year, that Ime looked at and just said, oh, they got us. They're better than us. Like, he wants smoke with everybody. And it's bringing that mentality where Now the guys are starting to believe. They've gotten better. The veterans have gelled. You see the chemistry there. And now all those things that he was preaching last year, those guys didn't forget the accountability, the
Hmm.
frustration after losses, that like, hey, we're going to see them again. Like you can see there's a driving force here in Houston. So Ime through accountability, embracing the players, being one-on-one with them. And then like sometimes, man, I want to say maybe the majority of my NBA career, I was in the dark. I had to figure it out. If I didn't do what coach wanted or figured out the style that he was trying to go with, you're either in or you're out. And with
Hmm.
Ime, he gonna straight up tell you, you don't defend. You don't make shots. You don't pass the ball. You don't have a fit. You know, you know why you're not playing in the things that you need to do. So to answer your question, that's how he's turned things around, and that's the way that he's been able to to relate with guys. And he brings them in, man. You'll see him on the timeout. He wraps his arm around them and he tells them directly what he wants, and then like he's in the fire with you. Like Dylan gets a tech, Ime gets a tech. Like I'm in the trenches with
Hmm.
you, Alan. Like
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like we're not just doing that. And Alan, you even think about it like when we work together. You know, like I don't just pop up before a show. Like we come in there and break bread and just talk. How's the family doing? How's that? Like so that personal touch that I care. I'm in it with you. That goes a long way in every
Hmm.
aspect.
Yeah, that's okay. So, as a former player, you're 10 years a vet in the league. You've been around the game your entire life. That style of a coach, does that, do players want that? Or are there certain players that don't want, you're talking about
For sure.
a coach doesn't go at a superstar, hypothetically, right? Because he's a superstar. Do most players not want that Ime Udoka style? Or I'm just curious from a player perspective if that's something that catches with a lot of players, or this is just kind of a unique situation.
I don't think that style will work if you were, let's say, established. Like if you're Kevin Durant,
Yeah,
what he does with Alperen Şengün and Jalen Green, you're not gonna do with Kevin Durant. Well, you
mm,
know, Kevin Durant knows who he is. He knows what he is.
sure,
You're not, you're not gonna change that. But it doesn't mean that Ime wouldn't change his style. You know, he don't need to bark up and down Fred Van Vliet's, actions. Fred knows what he needs to do better. You know, Fred knows.
sure.
Fred is literally an extension of the coaching staff on the
Mm,
floor. If Fred Van Vliet wanted to stop tomorrow and go into coaching, he could be the head coach of a team.
mm,
You'd have to figure out some X's and O's. Fred Van Vliet knows enough. He could be the head coach of a ball club. That's it. That's the type of IQ that he has. So, you know, Ime's going to approach every player in every situation different. And for those guys who know how to win, Fred's a world champion. Jeff Green's a world champion. Dylan Brooks has played at extremely high level in the league. You know, he may have to fine tune when Dylan goes off the rocker a little bit. You know, when he gets to that line, he goes over the line. But other than that, um, every style is different. And our
mm,
young guys, you understand, like last year they went to college, Alan. Like Ime took them to college. There's a lot of stuff they didn't get from college or even
mm.
early, maybe in their high school development because they're so talented. It was a fast track. And when you get thrown in the advanced course, Alan, if I throw you in trigonometry, if I throw you in algebra 2 and you didn't do pre-algebra right, we're going, what are we doing here? So, our guys still had a lot of the basic skills that they had to sharpen up on. And that's one thing that Ime really had to do.
It feels like from a Laker perspective tonight, it's a big game, and I'll give you
Oh,
I'll give
oh,
you a number of reasons. I'll give you a number of reasons from a Laker perspective, but I'm curious how the Rockets are treating tonight. For the Lakers, like I said, I think there's a little bit of, you haven't played the Rockets yet with this team, so I think there's obviously kind of the feeling out process and want to throw your best foot forward, especially against a team that's number 2 in the West. There's the standings. I mean, Lakers win a game tonight, then number 3 and number 2 are still in play. They lose tonight. Now you're starting to look at, I mean, Memphis losing that one game against the Lakers, Ryan. There's now, they don't finish these final 8-9 games, whatever games they got. They could fall to the number 7 or number 8 spot. That's how close everybody is. There are a lot of reasons why this is a big game for the Lakers. How do you think the Rockets treat tonight's game?
It's beef. Don't let me speak for the guys in the locker room. This is just what I see and what I feel. Okay, it's beef. You want a piece of 2-3. Those young kids, 2-3 is he's the legend. 2-3 is their MJ. He's all they've known. They want a piece of him.
Mm.
They remember when 2-3 put them on their butts their rookie year. Okay. Then they were just happy to be there. Same way they went at Kevin Durant last night. They wanted a piece of KD. Okay. All right. They want a piece of Slim Reaper. They want a piece of 2-3. All right. Make no mistake. And then we're a group that feels like we still got a lot to prove. And LA ain't no different game. So I'm gonna tell you one thing. Jalen Green, he might be up and down certain games, not of late, or certain teams. Those
Not
stars
tonight.
come in town. That boy's a rock star. That boy is a rock star in
Mm.
every sense of the word. You can throw him up there with the Hardens and the LeBrons and the Westbrooks and he got the flair. He has the
Mm.
it. He's ready. He like this. Put him on the stage. That boy's a rock star. Okay, uh, he's gonna be ready to go, and our guys want to show what's going on. And there's gonna be a lot of energy in the building. And Alan, the Laker games are different. You've been
Mhm.
on the road. You've kind of seen the environment. The whole cape comes down. The lighting is different. The people understand. Alan, I tell you from being a former player, with all due respect, I don't know how this going. There's nothing like cracking the Lakers. I tell you right there, and
Mm.
especially right there. And for me, it was in Staples. For these kids, it's going to be in crypto. I mean, there's nothing like cracking the Lakers over the head. Okay, and you make. Here's the thing too. Maybe teams don't pay attention to you earlier in the season. You crack the Lakers. Oh my God, we noticed how good they are. They're paying attention to those games.
Why? And okay, so I'm not surprised that you say that at all. And I think that there's a little bit of look. Every game, I'm watching every single game. I'm reacting. I'm doing a post game show for it, the whole thing. A lot of times, I'm even watching the road broadcast because I want to hear what they have to say about the Lakers. It just gives me kind of some different insight. You know what
100%.
happens? You know what happens? This isn't a surprise at all. Um, Orlando had a game against the Lakers. This was on a week ago today. I, they broke their attendance record that they've ever had. And I don't think that's just because of Dwight Howard being recognized there. I also think it had to do with they get to see Luka, LeBron, and the Lakers. Okay.
Yeah.
These games are not normal. So when you're talking about there's something about wanting to beat the Lakers, okay, what does that mean? If you take the layers back, it means yeah, it's one of the most successful franchises out there. It's an endearment. It's actually it's a form of respect by saying we want to beat that team because you maybe don't feel the same way about another random Eastern or Western Conference team. And I think that goes to the point that you were making. And not that I'm surprised here. Tonight is not a regular game for the Rockets. They are trying to show everybody that. And I think there is some disrespect to the Rockets because, at least from my perspective, I'm talking about other teams before I'm talking about Houston. I'm mentioning Denver because Jokic is there and they've won a championship. I'm mentioning OKC because they got half the amount of losses than everybody else in the Western Conference, and we know what Shea's doing. I'm mentioning Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler because I've seen them do it before. I think the Rockets. I'm not shocked at all that they're looking at this game tonight, and like you said, it might have been KD yesterday, and tonight it might be LeBron.
Alan, we don't want to be mentioned by the national media. We don't want that. We don't want that. Let us be forgotten. Let our guys just go to work and stay hungry. I think our young guys are getting better about it, but um, sometimes you get that national success. Everybody tells you how great you are. You got to learn how to deal with that. I, as a young player, man, hey, Alan, let me tell you something, man. I had me a good game as a young player. Everybody texts me and look, we saw you on NBA TV, TNT,
Mm-hmm.
and all this, and you're great. Man, I laid an egg the next night. I thought I was gonna come here rolling. Okay, I thought I was gonna be rolling. But I say that to say our young guys are still learning
Mm-hmm.
how to deal with that. They're getting so much better about it. Email's giving them a recipe for success, a recipe for how to compete at the high levels. And the biggest difference I would say in this season is the physicality. And I do want to touch on this. Shout out to the Lakers, give them credit. I believe that they built a brand that they've been one consistent with. For two, excites people, and you gotta give them credit. The Lakers stay on brand. They know it's LA. They know they're gonna bring in names.
Hmm.
Sometimes, Alan, those names don't work. You could get swallowed up by LA, or you could be Magic Johnson and embrace it. Okay. Hey, LeBron wasn't in LA in his youth, in his primes, but he's embraced it. He's held that down, pretty well. I don't really love or hate LeBron. Give him credit, okay? Don't wait till this man is done to give him his flowers. But credit to LA because it does bring excitement. It is good for the league, and they're going to win, lose, or draw. Go get those names. They're going to go and get the talent, and they're gonna go and figure things out. But again, it builds excitement. It builds anticipation. It really is great for the league at the end of the day. And if they're not doing their thing, it's not going to be as sweet when Houston goes in and beats them. So keep it up, and every team. I love how teams in the NBA. I'm a big fan, Alan, of culture. I'm a big fan of tradition. Lakers are Hollywood. Houston's hard working, grinding. Okay, so that grind, that grittiness, is gonna go out and challenge. So, man, I'm excited for the matchup, man. But I love that the league is getting to this place, and we got some drama building for tonight.
I know you got a lot
Excuse me,
going
tomorrow.
uh, tonight. Tonight, Lakers,
Oh
Lakers,
God,
Rockets.
back
Yeah,
to
that's
back.
right.
But we're not on the call, so
Yep.
you can tell I'm out of sorts, man.
No, I know. By the way, that might when I saw yesterday that they had Phoenix, you guys had Phoenix. I'm like, all right, that might actually help the Lakers. Second of a back to back. I know you got
It did help.
you. Well, okay. Let me ask you this question here because I know obviously your focus is all on the Rockets.
Yeah.
How much have you got to see of the Luka, LeBron, AR, JJ Redick, who I think is doing a phenomenal job with the Lakers this year? What do you make of? I know the trade for Luka wasn't necessarily go compete for a championship this year. It was about the future. Now they also went through a stretch where they went 20-4. They're playing unbelievable defense. LeBron gets hurt against the Boston Celtics, and really things haven't been the same. They've been up and down. Just what do you make of this team, of what you've seen so far, and the rest of the way, just seeing Luka and LeBron leading it?
For one, let me tell you something about Clay. We were what, 18, 19 years old, playing USA basketball together, spent a month with the guy, been a good friend of mine ever since. I love that dude right there. He's a great dude, and he's as real. He's as real as they come. Forgive me, my the no, thank you. They're trying to see if they can clean the room right now, man. Alan, we don't need the room clean. We're doing the Alan Silver show right now, okay? Um, and what stands out to me is JJ's work ethic, how
Mm,
disciplined he was in the weight room, but even more so, I've never seen a cleaner locker room from anybody in my entire career. The guy with OCD. I mean, I think he brought a duster into the locker room to make sure that his locker was clean. He was so sharp about the way
meticulous.
he wanted
Mm,
to a T, the way
mm,
he wanted things done. So JJ's obsessive, and he's taking that mentality into coaching. Okay, he took it into broadcasting. He was excellent and unbelievable at it, but he took it into coaching. He's got a flair, he's got an energy, and he brings respect because JJ talked some trash with you. JJ got away. He got away with his words. But he backs it up and he's put in the words work, and he's got a different. He's got like a little grit to him. And again for LA, he's a guy that I said, you don't people forget JJ Redick, his 4 years at Duke was the most arguably one of the most scrutinized personalities in all of sports, and maybe even today. You got to think back, people hated some JJ Redick, and he
mm.
played through that animosity. So now you say be the head coach of the Lakers, he probably had more stress at Duke. Love that. In terms of Luka and LeBron, the keys for them, and everybody was enamored because there was a span there going, how do you lose Anthony Davis, defensive of the year, runner up, a guy who really brings it to the table, and our defense gets better. Well, obviously, some of those teams are going to be better matchups if you can hide Luka. Let's just call it for what it is. But two, this is like football. The one thing that the Lakers, what makes them dangerous is when they can control pace. In football, you have time of possession, you
Mm.
keep the ball away from the other team, you can go out and sneak a big win. And that's the thing where Luka and LeBron become dangerous because those two alone can control pace. You put them together, that's really the goal. Now, the problems that they're going to run into is a team that's complete, a team with 5 guys who can go and get it.
Mm,
Okay. When your fifth guy is willing to score 30, or you have a team rolling that if you're stuck, they're going to make that play, or 5 guys who can run a dribble drive offense. The Lakers are going to struggle. They're really going to struggle against OKC. They don't want a piece of that matchup. They're going to struggle against Boston. They don't want a piece of that matchup. Hey, Dylan Brooks shoots the ball well. Jabari Smith Jr. drops a 30 ball on you. They're going to struggle with those matchups. It's the fourth and fifth guys that make Luka have to run around that's going to make them struggle at the end of the day. But the keys for the Lakers is them controlling pace, them controlling tempo. I think AR has been unbelievable. I heard you talking about him a little bit before I came on. And then, their energy guys have to play a place in the game. Finney Smith has got to be a playmaker on the defensive end. Vando's got to be not just a defender, he's got to be a playmaker.
mm.
And those guys got to sacrifice. Jackson Hayes, I've been a Jackson Hayes fan for a long time, man. I'm so happy for that kid right there. I think he's got just a whole lot more in his game that's untapped. He can shoot the ball. He can dribble a little bit. He can do a lot. But it just him believing that he can play pound for pound with the NBA's best, because he's that type of athlete. I think the sky's the limit for him. But like you said, I agree. It may not be this year, but it is a tough matchup. And LeBron, for the first time, he couldn't really hand it over to AD. There are games that AD was excellent. AD impacts the game in different ways,
Mhm.
but AD's a finisher. AD at his best, right? He's finishing. When somebody gives him the ball, he's finishing. When I guard Anthony Davis, I go, dang, I got to guard the man getting downhill and then AD's popping, or AD's on the rim behind my head. That's the headache for AD. I can live with AD on the block where I can contest and wall up. So he was good as LeBron was rolling. And now as you get less from LeBron, you get to save his legs. LeBron playing off ball, cutting, and it was enamored me that people forgot that LeBron was really good playing off the basketball.
Mm.
He was a headache on those scouting reports. So I think there's a lot to be unpacked there. I think it's a lot more dangerous than you expect. And I think their biggest struggles are going to be energy. So for Houston tonight is going to be bringing energy,
Mm.
and getting up and down the floor and making those guys have to work. And it's going to go one of two ways. It's going to be a slow pace, long game that you want to say, hey, our execution versus your execution, or LA going to get their butts run out the building right on national TV. I'm going to tell you that much right now, because this isn't a personal one. And our guys had some time off, and it's about as sharp as I've seen them all season long last night. Like Phoenix is bad, but they
Mhm.
were sharp, Allen.
All right, I'll tell you this: no one's getting ran out of the building. So Rockets. Now you're getting me more excited about this game. Rockets can be up for this game. I'm telling you, this isn't just me saying this. I feel like this is a big matchup. It's impossible the Lakers aren't also, kind of targeting this game against the Rockets. Number 2 spot's not out of the way. Number 3 spot's not out of the way. Maybe number 2 is going to be tough. I'd be shocked if the Lakers are not prepared tonight. I really would.
It's one of two things. But it's one of two things, Alan. If you tell me what you feel, I feel
Mhm.
like there's games where LeBron's seen he hadn't had it, and especially against Houston, and just shut it down. Like, we ain't got it tonight. Get back to the drawing board.
Yeah, I know what you're referring to there. There are some times, and this is not a strong characteristic from the Lakers. There are times where they might go up. They went up by 20 against Memphis and then took their foot off the gas, and then it's a dogfight. They went up, we know what happened in the Chicago game where Giddey hits the final shot, but Lakers
Yeah.
were up 5-6 points here with just a few seconds. Even the game against the Pacers, they had a nice lead and had to get the buzzer beater. They do get complacent. That part, concerns me about the Lakers, but I think they'll be up for it tonight. I really do. And they don't have another game until Thursday against the Warriors, so I think there's a little bit of, this is a key one for the Lakers as well. Hey, you mentioned the Thunder. Just out of curiosity, how have the Thunder and the Rockets done against each other?
Houston actually matches up extremely well
Hmm.
against OKC. It's a team that uh Houston just plays well against, even when they were like kind of like doing their thing last year. Beat them, played well, beat them this season, and then kind of got drugged at their place. Because when Shea just goes on a heater, it's tough. But when our guys kind of can get stops on him, we have a chance to beat them. We're physical, we're bigger, we kind of match up
It's an interesting matchup.
with them. It's a weird thing, but we just match up. We can beat them. Not that it's a guaranteed, game, and then we got embarrassed in the in-season tournament playing them, and they just shut everything down. It was like, yo, we got to get better. Now our guys got to the drawing board and get better. So I think what's intriguing is those matchups are completely different matchups now in some ways, because when you have young players, they've gotten better than since when you last seen them. And at the same time, I don't even know what to expect from in certain aspects other than what we watched from the Lakers, because like you said, Alan, earlier, this is not AD. I can't really gauge.
Nothing.
It'd be like, well, who scores more, AD or Şengün? And they're both mentally would be in different places. And if Şengün is rolling, AD's a non-factor. The win would be definitely there for Houston. And if AD's kind of rolling, the Lakers end up winning the game. We could go down to that matchup, but in this one, we're still figuring out. There's a lot on the line, but I'm
not a lot
telling
of data. Not a lot of data. There's no data between the two. Yep.
Those young boys get rolling, Lakers might shut this one down because they ain't creeping back from a comeback. I'm gonna just tell you that right now.
I like this. I like
these
this.
young. Hey, they know that. Hey,
I like this.
Listen, Alan, they look different last night. I'm telling you. I'm not just gassing you. I'm not being a homer.
I know it was a complete blowout. I know it was a complete blowout. Here's the only problem. Here's the only problem. Here's the only problem with last night. Yeah, go ahead.
Phoenix they got some stuff behind the scenes going on.
That's what I was going to say.
You can feel it. You can feel it. But even with that, our guys were extremely just sharp. And it wouldn't be easy, but they want to bump. And then you guys have struggles inside. We hit the boards. Jackson Hayes, he gonna have his hands tied. Like, you're gonna have to put Vando and Finney on our bigs, and then you're keeping them off the boards, and that might be your best lineup. And then LeBron is big enough to do it, but our guys aren't just rebounding because we kind of play hard. Our guys are rebounding at a high clip because we're going in there, putting our elbow and our knees in your backs and moving weight. And you got 5 guys crashing in like bowling, like bowling pins. So it's kind of like, do y'all really want to grind with that? It's a different style. We're not just going, before it'd be like, is Jalen Green gonna score 30? Is Şengün gonna get his double-double? Now it's like, yo, you're gonna box out these young dudes heading to the rim. We ain't even talked about Amin Thompson. Amin Thompson had a darn field day the last time he saw LA. And you guys got less rim protection now. Şengün loves playing against long. I don't know how JJ is gonna go. Şengün loves playing against long, lanky defenders. Jackson Hayes, with all due respect, that's going to be a struggle. So you'd have a better chance throwing Vando or Finney, or even if he wants. You want to know how serious the Lakers are? LeBron would be the best matchup to guard Şengün.
Yeah, I was going to tell you.
That's how we'll know they're serious.
Well, I was going to tell you, don't be surprised at all. And the matchup against Jokic is not the perfect example, but Lakers were using kind of what you just described right there.
Rui?
They're using Vando. They're using LeBron. Yeah. They're using Rui. They're using. It wasn't just like an exclusive Hayes by any stretch of the imagination. I think you know what's kind of interesting about the squad too. They got guys that they're small, but they don't play small. If that makes sense.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
So they might not be 7-footers, but they got guys that they're banging with everybody else.
And then here's the problem. I expect Steven Adams to play. The one thing that we excelled on that we didn't do the last time you saw, we played 2 bigs. So let's say you can kind of lean on Şengün. Bro, Ime's coming in with Şengün and Adams and Jabari at the 3. And if you put a small guy, if you put LeBron on Steven Adams, he's gonna run him underneath the rim. I'm telling you, it's like guerrilla warfare under there right now. And then what happens? Şengün lights up because then you can't really help the same because the guy don't want to leave Steven Adams. Steven Adams, right now, per 36, is the greatest offensive rebounder in NBA history. It's nothing like I've ever seen. He gets his hand on every single basketball.
Mm-hmm.
He gets his hand on every ball when he goes in. And the plus minus, they're like a plus one. It's a crazy plus minus, bro. It's like a plus 80 or 90 when he goes in.
Who will they play together? Who will they put on Luka?
If they go in with the big lineup, they go zone. But as far as Luka, Amin Thompson is the first team all defensive candidate. Tari Eason sat out last night. Tari Eason is going to be rated. I'm telling you, you got Dylan Brooks. That's what makes Houston tough is there's multiple defenders you can throw at him. And then Fred, if he gets switched on to him, he's going to fight. So, like, when you guard LeBron and Luka, you got to be switchable. Jabari can guard him. Like, you got to be switchable. But when he goes big, you see zone. So, Lakers going to have to hit threes to get him out that zone. And on the other end, they're going crashing in. So, that's why I say the Lakers are really going to have to control pace. Because
Ime's got everybody motivated over there. Even the broadcasters are ready to run through a wall.
Allen is war. It's such a different thing.
I'm ready, bro.
We hadn't seen two bigs in a while. It's war, and I'm seeing like teams freak out. So like if you try to match up with it, now you are out of character because you're going Jackson Hayes. Alex Lynn is gone. I don't even know if you guys have.
They won't use it. No, they'll literally use They'll use Rui, Vando, Jackson Hayes, and
you'd have
LeBron,
to put Rui and Vando.
But before they use any of the Alex Lynn,
it would have to be what you said: Rui, Hayes, and LeBron. Like and like here's the thing: LeBron is the biggest X factor because LeBron can guard LP.
Sure.
But does he want to do it for 4 quarters? So that's gonna like how I said, Alan, like how you said they're serious. We're gonna see how serious they are about this game. Because you say LeBron and remember in the playoffs, LeBron slid over and guarded Jokic. That's how I knew, like, oh damn, like like this is go time. So like they need this. This is serious. Like if he slides over and he's guarding Şengün to start the game, that's gonna tell you everything that you need to know.
I'm not kidding. You got me more hyped up about this game tonight than I've been since probably Lakers went at Denver. If you remember that, it was the first time Luka went at Denver. And this got some good hype to it here.
And I'll say with Luka has destroyed Houston in the past. I mean, like destroyed. But here's the thing: like it was more like, well, once Dylan Brooks gets that second foul, there wasn't much to do. Now, if Luka starts doing his thing, Ime got bodies to throw at him. And also, too, Ime's had to trap and say, like, well, shoot. Like here's the problem. If you go big, they're going to double team Luka and say, Vando, take a jumper. Like, Vando, take a jumper. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
what I would do if I'm another team.
And Rui played excellent in the last matchup. Like, this is a game where it's going to be like, all right, AR's cooking. He's good. All right, Rui beat us. Like, so Rui going to have to go get his 30. Like, you know, and he's capable, but now.
But you take your chances. Yeah,
Houston's depending on offensive rebounding, right? If all else fails, Houston's like, we're going to offensive rebound. The Lakers are dependent on Rui to get 30. Not that he can't, but that might be with Ime. Like, is that 30 going to be there from Rui?
You pick your
now
poison.
That sets things up. And now how dependable is that? So I'm not just shooing in the game, but I'm saying, like, I can see the Lakers going, we ain't got it, sip it in. Don't run LeBron into the ground. These guys are too young, too athletic. We'll see them later and shoot. Maybe even see them in the playoffs. You know, just shut it down, you know.
All right, let's see what happens. I'm excited. Good stuff, Ryan.
You're competitive.
Good stuff,
I've never
brother.
seen you this competitive.
No. This is good. This is what I want to hear because listen. There's certain matchups, and I said this before. Rockets play with this. There's a chippiness that comes to them that I think makes the game exciting. It kind of reminds me a little bit of old school ball, you know. Unfortunately, in today's NBA, that's kind of a lost art. So I like this style of basketball. I want to see this style of basketball. But you feel so good about the Rockets. It's impossible not to feel how you feel. So now I'm excited about tonight's game. I already was, but you took it to another level.
And Lakers, they play better at home. I think that this is great for Houston too, because we're at the point in the season, like, expose us somewhere and show us something that we can go work on. Like expose us. Is it turnovers? Is it a bad lineup, a bad matchup? Like, so even if the Lakers did play well or find holes in Houston, this is good because our guys can go and work on it.
Rockets 22-14 on the road. It's a great record. It's a great record on the road.
They've grown, dude. They've grown. So, like, I think from our standpoint, selfishly, a loss wouldn't be the end of the world, or if there's a bad quarter or bad something. But I think it would be like show us something to work on, because you know what, Alan, like you get to the playoffs and then you're like, oh shoot, this guy can't shoot, or like they struggle with this, and this. Like, so hopefully we can see that now before you get to the playoffs.
Hmm.
So you're definitely not asking for a loss. There's a lot riding for both teams, but if you can see somewhere that you need to work,
Sure.
that would also pay dividends. And then like I hope LA doesn't mail it in. I hope you get the best from LeBron. I hope you get from the best from the Luka. I hope LeBron is healthy and Luka's motivated and you get those guys at a high clip because, let's be fair too. If LeBron is still LeBron, he can shut this whole game down. If Luka is high level Luka, me seeing it, he can shut this whole game down himself. Like, and you're going, man, we forgot how good that dude is.
Hmm.
And Houston's trying to go pound for pound with what those guys do. And then you're having fun basketball. If you're JJ saying piece that around, but again, there's so many variables in there, and Ime's pretty ruthless. He probably gonna make Luka have to run around. He is ruthless in that sense. He gonna run him in the pick and rolls. He's going to do things, and I'm sure Luka going to be looking for Jalen Green and saying, "Well, Jalen, we're not going to let you score. Come play some defense."
Hmm.
So we'll be, watching for that chess match behind the scenes. And then, hey, for like I said, for LA, they can't give up the energy points. They can't give up transition. They can't, give up those looks, or else it's a wrap. And I would say teams that have played Houston well, like Utah, played Houston really well. They didn't give up. They actually won the fast break points. They got
Hmm.
back in transition. They didn't rebound. They just ran back and got that. Now, Steven Adams didn't play. Steven Adams is such a difference maker because like we got to execute and work on those things. But when Steven Adams plays, he's the most dominant thing that Houston does well. Great teams like this is dominant. Like him scoring or shooting is dominant. Steven Adams is dominant. So he's
Hmm.
an X factor, man. So if you guys can kind of cancel those minutes out or match those minutes, it's a big key. It's been a huge key.
All right, listen, we're a couple weeks away from the playoffs starting. Once the playoffs start and we kind of have an idea where everybody is, maybe we're fortunate enough and we get in the second round we get little Lakers Rockets action. But I'd love to reconnect with you and bring you back on. And I think once we have an idea of what it looks like, we could talk about some of the other teams as well. I'd love your thoughts on some of the other teams in the East, obviously what's going on in the West, but phenomenal breakdown, brother. I know it's been a while since we chatted. I texted you a
Yeah.
couple days ago, so I appreciate you doing this. All right, my man.
Hey man, I appreciate the love you show me from day one. You do great work, brother. Anything you need from me, you hit me and you know it.
Good looking out. Thank you, Ryan.
I got you.
All right, that is Ryan Hollins right there. Breaking it down. Oh, yeah, so funny right there. That's a good dude. I've known him for a while, and I haven't connected with him in literally probably at least a year or so. So nice of him to do so. He is feeling a certain way about the Houston Rockets. Phenomenal. By the way, I'm all in on this, and especially the way he was kind of selling the Rockets. By the way, I don't think you have to sell them. I think there is a lot of people just aren't talking about them enough. A lot of people probably aren't just giving them the respect because they haven't been there before. And it's, it's a young team and everything else. I think he's making a lot of valid points. Ime Udoka is going to muddy the water. I mean, whether people want to see it or not, Ime Udoka, that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to muddy the water. And I think that's, obviously the only way that you can, I think stylistically for them, have true success. I don't think anybody's getting blown out at crypto tonight. I was telling him that I don't think that's happening. It's going to be a tough game. I think Houston will take it very, very personal because Ime Udoka and the Rockets take things personal, but it's a very important game for the Lakers as well. Like, we can't just pretend that this isn't. I get what Houston's trying to do. Every game for the Lakers could be the difference in them losing home court in the first round, potentially even, I know there's only 8 games left, falling out all the way out to the play-in tournament. So these are big games for them. If you're going to get a chance to be in the number 3 spot, how great would this be? I mean, now after talking with Ryan, pass Denver, get to that number 3 spot, get home court in the first round, get the Houston Rockets in the second round. You get to avoid Denver. You get to avoid OKC. Not that Houston's a walk in the park, but he was feeling a certain way about it. All right, let's see some of these comments here. Oh, man, that was good. By the way, I'm telling everybody right now, I don't look at the chat. Sometimes I do if I have a guest, but I did not this entire time, because if I do, it kind of takes me off of what the hell I want to talk about. Let's look at some of the comments here. We will handle business against the Rockets. We play serious basketball against good teams. So do they. You know, I was mentioning this, and I was surprised to see this when we were talking about it a little bit earlier. When the Lakers play teams above 500, they're 3 games over 500. Let me find that stat that I gave you guys earlier. 18-15 against teams over 500. Only 2 teams have a better record in the West. OKC and Houston. By the way, their record that I just said on the road, Houston's got a really good record on the road too. Great takes from Ryan. He really made the game tonight even more interesting to watch. I'm with you. It's all talk. Let's see the walk. That was phenomenal. Ryan was ready to suit up. He's ready to go. All right, let's see what else we got here. Good interview. Thank you, brother. By the way, I've told you guys this before, and when I do the MVP members, for members only, when I do videos, I tell people and I ask them kind of what are we looking for in a guest. I'm going to be trying to bring on more guests that are just more challenging to the conversation. That it's not just blue skies for the Lakers, or that they have a take on another team and that other team they feel like is better than the Lakers. Clearly, Ryan Hollins feels very, very confident about his squad. I'm with you. He got me hyped up about this game. I was already hyped up. He took it to another level. Rockets remind me of Detroit, and Detroit ran us rugged physically. Okay. One thing that he said that I don't think that he mentioned until a little bit later, which I loved what he said. He said that Houston could have the best game plan in the world. If LeBron is LeBron, it's almost nothing you could do. If Luka is Luka, almost nothing that you can do. And the reason why I like when he said that is because you can have the best game plan that you have. What makes a superstar is when, guys, we just don't have an answer for Nikola Jokic. Guys, we can't stop Steph Curry. You know, that Shai Gilgeous has 45, and we're halfway through the third quarter. Luka Doncic has 38 and 8, and we're walking into the fourth. There's just certain players, there's nothing that you can do. And I think that's a perfect example of it. I don't think there is I know what he was trying to say, that if things aren't going good, do the Lakers mail in? I don't think that's happening. Listen, I told you guys from the beginning that this is a game tonight. Lakers are not taking tonight lightly. They beat Phoenix, and he hyped as hell. Well, here's why he's hyped. He's hyped because they've won 9 of 10, second best record in the Western Conference. They've been legit all year. He likes the players that are on that team. He likes Ime Udoka. So obviously, there's a lot of reasons why he's hyped. But I agree with whatever you did against Phoenix yesterday doesn't mean anything against the Lakers, because we all know that Phoenix is nothing. Phoenix is nothing. All right, good stuff. Good stuff right there. I got to keep things moving here. We went over on that front. AR, let me get AR in here real quick. AR is, by the way, AR always coming through, always very, very generous. So I appreciate everything, AR. Slee, have a quote for everybody, especially for our beloved Lakers team. Here goes. Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Thanks for the show, brother. AR, you're the man. Thank you, brother. Appreciate the quote, the positivity, all that stuff, sharing all that stuff. Thank you for the super, brother. AR is also gifting out a MVP membership. Thank you, AR. If you want to support the channel, it's a phenomenal way of doing so. It's $3 a month. We are not that far away from about 270 members, something like that. A lot of people are here. A lot of people got gifted. So however the hell, you became a member, thank you very much for doing so. I put a link right here. If you want to become an MVP member, would be phenomenal to have you guys be a member as well. All right, let's keep going here. And I got a couple other things that I want to hit on. I got another show coming up later. There's other stuff that I have to do after the show. All right. Weekend recap. Let's do the weekend recap here real quick. Of course, presented by the Wallace firm. Shout out to them. Let me get a couple things in here. I'll read a couple more comments, and then we'll call it a day. Weekend recap. Let me start here in the NBA because we were just on the NBA. The Phoenix Suns. Yeah, that's probably done. That's probably over. The Phoenix Suns, for a quick second, I think they won 4 in a row and people got excited. Guys, the Phoenix Suns are the Phoenix Suns. Unfortunately for them yesterday, what you don't want to see is Kevin Durant injures his left ankle. It's a left ankle sprain. And I guess landed on Jabari Smith Jr. This is the game last night against the Houston Rockets. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he comes back or not. Here's what he said. He said, no. I don't have any quotes from it. But what I think is the main thing to pay attention to, Phoenix was already just a team in complete disarray, a team with the talent they have, at least the top-end talent, 35-40, and they lost 3 games in a row. Here's what also has happened to the Phoenix Suns is Kevin Durant. I mean, I don't know what KD is going to do. I don't know how bad his ankle sprain is or anything like that. I know he left the game in the third quarter and didn't come back. He's got an MRI coming up today. They said he initially would not travel with the club to begin a 3-game road trip. I think this all but puts that final nail in the coffin on the Phoenix Suns of making the play-in tournament. How about the Dallas Mavericks, who now all of a sudden find themselves in the number 9 spot? Remember when I was sitting back and I was telling you guys, hey, if AD can go, he should go. And if he's healthy, he should go. At least give Dallas something to cheer about. And I think it's a good look for Anthony Davis to do so. Well, they passed Sacramento because Sacramento has been awful as well. And the Mavs are now in the number 9 spot. Phoenix Suns now 2 full games in the loss column out of the number 10 spot. So that just kind of tells you where the Phoenix Suns are and where that organization is. Last thing that I want to mention here real quick from the NBA, and then we'll keep things moving. I got a couple things in the MLB I want to get to real quick. Then we're going to call it a day. Last thing I want to mention in the NBA, man, these standings, everything just keeps moving. Memphis might find their way. If they don't start winning games, they could find themselves in the play-in tournament and potentially not even get a 7-game set with anybody in the first round. Golden State, 12 games over 500. Minnesota, 11 games over 500. Clippers, 10 games over 500. That's 6, 7, 8 right now. So it's kind of exciting to see how all these teams are still jockeying for position and fighting. Basically, the only teams that don't have to fight are the Thunder and maybe you want to call it the Cavs, but I mean, Boston's won 8 games in a row, 9 of their last 10. Cleveland's 5-5 in their last 10. OKC is really the only team that has nothing to play for that's on the top. Okay, a couple things in MLB here real quick. Obviously, it was opening weekend. They started last Thursday, if you don't count the series in Tokyo. Some things that don't surprise me, some things that give me a little, surprise me a little bit here. Dodgers 5-0. Does not surprise me. They have one of the most stacked rosters I've ever seen in my life, and I've been watching, baseball since the mid-'90s, maybe even earlier than that. But I don't know what you do with that Dodger lineup. They start the season out 5-0, beat the Cubs, the 2-game set in Tokyo, obviously swept the Detroit Tigers. They had a Thursday, Friday, Saturday set. I think they had Sunday off just because of they played in Tokyo. That one doesn't surprise me. The Padres, 4-0 start, and not against a chump team. They swept the Atlanta Braves. Really good games from Petco Park. I wasn't in town. I would have tried to catch a game if I could. That one surprises me a little bit. Did not think the Padres would start out 4-0. So right there in the NL West. I mean, listen, I think the NL West is the Dodgers. It's theirs. And I just think that just comes with the territory, that squad, the amount of players that they've racked up, the amount of money that they spend. They have a really good front office. I mean, they pretty much guarantee themselves the NL West every single year. So just the kind of quick takeaways, 5-0 Dodgers, 4-0 Padres. I saw some stories that were interesting. I'll just make this one really quick. Roki Sasaki got pulled from the game. His debut at Dodger Stadium only went I don't even think finished the second inning if I'm right. So issued 4 walks, got 5 outs while throwing 61 pitches to 12 batters. Dave Roberts pulled him after that. I think it's honestly, I think it's kind of comical here with Roki Sasaki. By the way, Roki, when they were in Tokyo, he walked 5 in 3 innings, only threw 25 strikes, 56 pitches thrown. So he struggled there as well. Allowed 2 runs, 3 singles while throwing 32 strikeouts and repeatedly falling behind the Tigers early in counts. Okay, so anyways, obviously reading a couple things here. Roki has not got off to a good start. Every article out there that says something about, maybe Roki doesn't have it, or maybe Roki's intimidated about the moment, or maybe Roki is, maybe he's not as good of a prospect as people thought. Okay, you can take that if you want from 2 games. It's March 31st. He's 23 years old. Even if Roki Sasaki was the biggest bust in MLB history, this top prospect that everybody thought was going to be a phenom and didn't come through, what are the Dodgers losing in any of this? I mean, like, the overreaction is unbelievable to me. Roki Sasaki will be fine. Roki Sasaki will most likely be a star-studded pitcher. Can you give the guy 3 months? Can you give him a little bit of time to kind of try to figure everything out, where everything just becomes, oh, yeah, I just pitch every 5th or 6th day, and that just becomes part of the norm? Give the man a second. I love how we're already looking at pitchers or batters or players that come up and 2 starts in at 23, and it's like, yeah, he just doesn't have it. Some of the overreaction to me is pretty comical, to be honest with you. Okay, last thing I want to get into, too, we got our Final Four as part of our weekend recap. Florida versus Auburn, Houston versus Duke. It's cool to have a player like Cooper Flagg in the Final Four because it's going to make me watch it. So something to keep in mind on that front. All right, there were a couple other things I wanted to get into that I'm just going to save for tomorrow. I don't want to use it. I'd be rushing to use it. Let me look at a couple of your comments here. Before I do so, the weekend recap is presented by the Wallace Firm. Need legal help for a serious injury? The Wallace Firm are proven trial lawyers. Go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa, wallacewins.com/Sliwa to learn more. A couple comments, and then we're going to call it a day, and I appreciate you guys hanging out as always. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got here. By the way, who on the Rockets can guard Luka, Reaves, Rui, and LeBron? Nobody. That's who. The Lakers will get everything they want and then some against the Rockets tonight. All right, I know there were some, Laker fans that were probably upset that somebody called their baby ugly when Ryan Hollins was talking about the Rockets. And obviously, he's really just talking about the success that they've had, that the Houston Rockets have had. And I'm okay with that. I got no issue with him, hyping up his team. We'll find out tonight. I will tell you this, a young team that plays up-tempo and wants to bang and crashes the glass. And, I mean, they have characteristics that doesn't exactly feel like that's a perfect matchup for the Lakers. Find out tonight. It's a big game. This is why games like this are exciting. This is why you want games like this in the regular season. All right, let's get a couple more of these in here. Let's see. Dodgers hosting Atlanta. Will be at Atlanta tonight, and I'll get a free hoodie. There you go. Get what you got. Padres off and running Tuesday. They are, listen, and I think it's the matchup to me that's most important. I think Atlanta's a good team. Atlanta's got a squad. So to take 4 against Atlanta, that one was a little bit surprising. If you had bet, do you think KD's played his last game? No question about it. No. Well, I mean, as long as he doesn't come back from the injury. But if he's injured and he's out, let's say for 2 weeks, while the regular season ends, they're not going to make the play-in. No question about it. He's played his last game in Phoenix. No question about it. I mean, I think, honestly, it's almost like the worst-kept secret. Rockets playing Game 7 tonight. Damn, Ime Udoka got into the bloodstream of the broadcasters too. Ryan Hollins was, he's pumped about what they got over there. That's okay. Listen, I told the story. I told it to Ryan because 2 years ago, here's what happened. I think it was 2 years ago. The Rockets were not good. I'm actually let me see this because I remember this almost vividly because when I was doing the Lakers broadcast and specifically when I was doing the pregame show, I'd invite a lot of these people, whether it's a beat writer, somebody who covers a team, a broadcaster, I'd invite them to where we're doing the broadcast. So Michael Thompson would be there, I'm there, and then we had another headset. We'd get at one point it was Ryan Hollins. I want to go back to 2022, 2023. How bad was Houston then? Let me see here. Yep, that was the year. Rockets went 22-60, and Ryan Hollins kept saying, guys, I'm telling you they're building something here. And I'm like, what is he talking about? And Michael Thompson was kind of like, what is he talking about? Ryan understood what was going on there. He understood that the team was, obviously on the right track, and you might not see it yet, but it was coming. Last year, what did Houston do? 41-41. Look at that. 22 wins the year prior, 41 wins last year. And then, just such a natural progression. Here they are now, 49 wins with still about 7-8 games left to go. So great stuff there from Ryan Hollins, and I appreciate you guys hanging out the entire time. That was fun. That was fun. All right, let's get one or two more comments here, and then we're done. They are not the number 2 team for no reason. They're a much better version of the Bulls. Okay, Bulls talking about some of those games. I'd like to go to tonight's game. Should be fun. All right, my people, thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys hanging out. We almost got $1.50 today. Hope you guys thought it was a good show. Please subscribe to the channel if you guys yet to subscribe. Later tonight, I will be here. Lakers, Rockets, we'll be reacting to that game. And then keep an eye out. Sammy has already put out a Lakers-Rockets preview video. Make sure you watch that one as well. It kind of gets you a little bit more of the X's and O's. Thank you for being a part of the show. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday, and I will get back with you guys tonight. Thank you, everybody.